Hey, good morning, everybody. Pastor Matthew here. Just wanted to share with you a few thoughts again today. I've been reading, for those of you who've been following along with these videos, especially over the last couple of days, you know that I've been kind of just spending some time reading in Genesis, reading about the life of Abraham. And in Genesis 12, verse 7, I came to this verse this morning. It says, "The Lord appeared to Abram and said, 'To your offspring I will give you this land.' So he built an altar there to the Lord who had appeared to him." And there's a few things that I thought was interesting. Was number one, that Abram was still moving in the direction. If you remember, he's moving from Ur to Canaan, to the land of Canaan, where God was giving to him and saying, hey, this is for you and for your offspring. But one of the things that I thought was really interesting was that God was really specific with Abram, right? There were some things that God was going to do to directly bless Abram, but the ultimate promise wasn't actually for Abram. It was for generations to come after him, right? So Abram was paving the way and walking in obedience in a way that was going to produce a harvest or produce fruit or produce the promise years later, way after he was even dead. Of course, those of you that are anywhere familiar with the Bible have probably heard the story of Abram, and you know the pattern, and you know his life, and you know the blessing, and you know the heritage, and all those things. He's a pretty central character to the story of Christ. But one of the things that I love is that Abram was willing to hear a promise, to reroute his life, so that the pattern of his life would set up generations to come. Abram lived with a farsighted, he lived a farsighted life in a nearsighted world. I wonder if that could be said of us. Like, are we willing to live farsighted, where we have sight for the future, where we're living for another season beyond this one? Or are we only living for the nearsighted, direct moment, instant gratification? Gotta have it now. If I don't see immediate payoff, I'm gonna give up and write it off. Like what are we willing to do? Like, are we willing to sacrifice our children's future for a God-honoring way so that they can have some satisfaction today? Like what if the things that really needed to be developed in our families, or the things that really needed to be developed in our character, what if those don't happen immediately? Because they don't. Those take time over the course of our lives to develop into becoming who God has created us to be. It's really easy for me to see this with my kids. I get really frustrated when they don't change quick enough, right? When they don't make the necessary changes soon enough. When I have been telling them about an attitude or a way that they're talking to their siblings, and they just refuse to change, right? Like, some days they do good and most days they don't do good, right? It's this process of becoming that I think God is really interested in. Who are we becoming? Not so much what are we producing, what are we doing today? Those things matter, don't get me wrong. But it's more of who we're becoming in our heart and on the inside. I love Abram because he just kept walking with God. He kept walking towards God. I think Eugene Peterson is the one who said it best when he said, what God desires is for us to live a life of long obedience in the same direction, right? Years and years and years of walking in obedience, walking in accordance with what God has said, walking in a way that produces something years later that other people are going to reap the benefit of, but we're the one making the sacrifice for today. We need to have long obedience in the same direction. We need to live farsighted in a nearsighted world. And that's kind of what I was just thinking about today. And even so much so that I started to ask God, what are the dreams and the promises that you have for my kids and my grandkids, right? Like, show me what I need to do today to start positioning and moving and having long obedience in the same direction so that it will benefit my family for years. What do I need to break the cycle of in my life today so it doesn't become a habit in their life tomorrow? I want to live farsighted. I want to have sight for way down the road, not just consuming for here and right now. All along the way in Abram's life, he got blessed, right? God did some things specifically in the seasons to bring blessing. But the ultimate blessing, the ultimate fulfillment of the promise, the big picture, didn't come for years later, well after Abram was gone from the earth. I want to live with that kind of far-sighted mentality. Sight set on eternity, yes, but also sight set generationally, right? I want to make decisions financially. They're going to set us up long obedience in the same direction, right? I want to develop character that helps sustain a life of faithfulness, not just have spurts of faithful moments, right? Like I want to live in that way. I want to have a far-sighted mindset in a nearsighted world. And I hope you do too. Hey, today I hope this has been helpful. It's just another opportunity for us to have some encouragement together and to have faith for today. Love you guys. God bless. We'll see you soon.